Let's go ahead and open the driver's side door. Now right there where the driver's left foot would go, there's a primary hood release lever. So pull that. Now in front of the vehicle, right there on the center, that's where the secondary release lever is. You see how I gotta push it to the left? So push it left with one finger and then lift it up. Now the hood itself is supported by that support rod over there. So that helps. See that? See how it just goes up? Just go up by itself, it's gonna stay in place. Now there are 4 different fluids to check. We've got the coolant, we've got the engine oil with the yellow dipstick, then we have windshield washer fluid and brake fluid. If you're wondering where the transmission fluid and the power steering fluid is, transmission is sealed, there's no quick way to check it, and this car has electric power steering, so no fluid to check. Let's start with the brake fluid over there. As you can see, there's a mark at the top and the bottom, like a horizontal line that says min and max. Max is readily visible over there, and the minimum level is slightly behind there. Let's get a closer look. That's max on the top, and minimum is below that over there. Now you should be able to see the fluid inside the container because semi-transparent. If you cannot, just try moving the container around. You'll see the fluid inside slosh. It should be between min and max. You should never really have to top up the brake fluid because the system is sealed. If you do have to top it off regularly, then there's a leak in the system somewhere and you should definitely get it checked out right away. This car requires .3 brake fluid, so get one of these containers that says .3 on it, and always use fluid from a sealed container. Do not just use some old brake fluid container because brake fluid is hygroscopic. It just sucks all the moisture out of the air, so you don't want to fill it out of a bottle that was just probably left open who knows when. Same goes for this container over here. As soon as you're done, put the cap back on and make sure it's on tight. Right, it says it right there on the cap, .3 brake fluid. Put it back on, tighten it, and you're done. And right there, the yellow cap, that's where the windshield washer fluid goes. You can see the level that's in the reservoir right now from the side there. As you can see, this thing is almost full and has blue fluid inside it. Right, you can see the level right from the side there. Now you could put water in the summer, but I would definitely suggest putting windshield washer fluid because even in the summer, the washer fluid has chemicals inside it and detergents in it that helps clean the windshield better. In the winter, if you live in a place where it gets below freezing, definitely put the proper windshield washer fluid because you do not want it to freeze and cause all sorts of problems for you. Again, remember there's chemicals, so do not let kids near it. And these bottles usually come with a safety cap. Most of them are such that you have to squeeze it from the side and then twist it open, or you got to push it down and then twist it open. Right? Once you get the cap off, it usually also has a seal on it. So get that seal off completely, just tear it off, and then open up that yellow cap. Hold the bottle the way I'm holding. That way there's less spillage. You have more control over the flow that way. See that? You're using your left hand in this case to control the flow. Once the level rises all the way to the top, close up the cap. Don't forget to put the cap back on the bottle. It takes about 1 gallon or 3.8 liters to completely fill up the windshield washer fluid reservoir. Now once the hood is open right there, that's the engine, and to the left side, that's the dipstick. Again, this is for the 5.7 liter V8 engine. Right? It may be different if you have the different engine. So just get that yellow dipstick, pull it out completely. Wipe the dipstick clean. Let's take a closer look at it. Right there, there's 2 marks. See that right side one, the small notch, that's minimum. The left side notch, that's maximum. The oil level should be between minimum and maximum. You do not want it to be below minimum because that's going to cause issues. And you also don't want it to be above maximum either because that's going to cause another set of issues. So it has to be between minimum and maximum. Alright, we put it down, pull the dipstick out, getting a fresh reading. As you can see, this thing is right at max. It's not above max, so that is good. And we're just going to put the dipstick back in, and that's it. It's so simple. Now I'm also going to show you when you put in the dipstick in, you have to make sure it goes in all the way because you may feel some tension, you may feel like it's in, but it's not. So just like that, get it in and then push it in. Now it's in place. If you do have to add oil, this is what you do. You open up the cap from there. It says it right there on it that this engine requires 0W20. Again, 0W20 oil. So make sure you put 0W20. If you can't find 0W20, just put 5W20. Right? So put 5W20 or 0W20 oil, put it in there, add a little bit oil, check the dipstick, add some more, check the dipstick, and that's how you add it. You don't want to overfill the engine with oil, right? And that's pretty much it. Now the last fluid to check is the coolant over there. That's the reservoir with the yellow cap, and that's the radiator pressure cap. Now you should never have to open the radiator pressure cap, and definitely don't even think about opening it when it's hot because the fluid underneath is in a lot of pressure, and if you open it when it's hot, it's going to spray out. It's going to cause skin burns, injuries. You do not want that. So never ever open the pressure cap when the engine's hot. So the way this works is hot coolant from the engine circulates over there, goes inside the radiator, gets cooled. Now if there's too much fluid. If the fluid gets too hot, then the extra fluid sort of comes inside the reservoir. When the fluid cools down in the main system, it sucks the fluid out of the reservoir back into the main system. So that's how it works. Check for the level in the reservoir and make sure when you are checking it, the engine's been sitting for a few hours, which means the engine's cold. So right there, there's two marks on it. The upper mark, it says full, and the lower mark is down there. It says add. So add is minimum and full is maximum. Should be between the add and full marks. Let's get a closer look again. There it is. Again, you should not have to top it off regularly, but once in a while, like once in 6 months or a year, if you do have to top it off a little bit, that's okay. So use one of these pre-mixed solutions, like this one that goes with all makes and model. You can go and get the coolant from the Dodge dealer if you like, but if you can't, just get one of these from like Walmart. Like it says all makes and models. It's compatible with all different fluid colors. It's pre-mixed, so you're good to go. Just buy the container, top it off. But remember, this is chemical, this is not water. Do not let kids near it. It says it right there, all the warnings. Read the warnings. Make sure you check the back label, and that's pretty much it.
Now the transmission fluid. I'm sure you're probably wondering where the transmission fluid dipstick is. It's not like the older cars. This car, this transmission is sealed for life. So there's no dipstick for us to just go and pull it out and check the quality and the level of transmission fluid. But in reality, it's more like sealed till the warranty lasts. It's not really sealed for life for as long as you're going to keep the car. So if you're going to keep the car for a long time, what I suggest you do is every 100,000 miles or 160,000 kilometers, you can flush the fluid. There is a drain plug and there is a way to fill up the fluid. There's just no dipstick. That's about the only thing. But if you really want to just flush the fluid, you can do it. So every 100,000 miles or 160,000 kilometers, just get the transmission fluid flushed and you should be all set. Now power steering fluid. There is no power steering fluid in this car because this is not a hydraulic based. The older cars used to have a hydraulic power steering system, and hydraulic systems had fluid in it. So there was a way for you to check the fluid and make sure it was topped off, good condition, all of that. But this car has electric power steering. So the way the power steering works is there's a motor that actually helps you turn the steering. So if anyone tells you you need to get your power steering fluid flushed, there is no power steering fluid in this car. It's funny, and the reason why I even mention is because in one of my previous videos for a 2017-2018 Hyundai Elantra, which again also has electric power steering, someone mentioned that they took the car to a dealership and the dealership technician suggested that they should get a power steering fluid flush, which had made no sense to me whatsoever, and I mean just doesn't make any sense because there is no fluid to begin with. I mean, there's no point of having fluid in it. So, if you're wondering where the power steering fluid is, there is none in this car, and that's one less thing to check and worry about.
If you can't reach all the way to the top, just pull it down from the side. Pull it down. Again, you have to apply some pressure because that support rod is sort of pushing it up. So get it like that and then push it down to slam it shut.